is a change of zone number 2001, Belle Mead Farm LLC.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a motion. Before making it, I want to read a quick informal statement. I want to acknowledge several concerns about the development, the loss of open space, increased traffic on Route 24, added pressure on volunteer fire EMS services, and continued strain on our schools. However, I am going to recommend approval based on the county code and comprehensive plan. This proposal provides needed housing, including options affordable to local workers. It adds retail and office space to support a walkable, transit accessible community. It utilizes existing utilities, maximizing taxpayer investments already made. It preserves some wooded land and contributes modestly to local emergency services. We cannot deny projects based on personal preference or desire to preserve the status quo. Certainly, I would love to see that have remained a horse farm. While I support conservation, our responsibility is to serve broader county needs, especially improving housing access for healthcare and service workers, which we have a shortage of. If there's a desire for more flexibility to deny applications or discourage sprawl, it falls within the authority of County Council to amend the code. As written, this proposal complies with code and planning goals, and compared to many past approvals, does more to meet the needs of Sussex County residents without contributing to sprawl. With that said, I move that we recommend approval of change of zone 2001 for Belle Mead Farm LLC for a change in zone from the AR1 Agricultural Residential District to the C4 Planned Commercial District, based on the record made during the public hearing and for the following reasons. 1, this is an application to rezone a nearly 40-acre parcel of land along Route 24 in eastern Sussex County to the C4 Planned Commercial District. The purpose of the C4 district is to encourage carefully planned large-scale commercial, retail, and mixed-use developments as a means of creating a superior shopping, working, and living environment through unified developments, and to provide for the application of design ingenuity while protecting existing and future developments and achieving the goals of the comprehensive plan. This purpose is satisfied with this application. 2, Route 24 is classified by DelDOT as a principal arterial roadway, and this property is within the Henlopen Transportation Improvement District, created jointly by DelDOT and Sussex County. In addition, a TIS was prepared by the applicant's traffic engineers and approved by DelDOT. On top of the improvements required by the TIS, the developer's contributions to roadway improvements within the Henlopen TID will be approximately $2.8 million. 3, the location is an area that has developed with a variety of uses, including 2 schools, a state police barracks, a hospital campus, and a variety of housing types. The area housing includes large and single-family subdivisions and a multifamily residential development across 24 from the site, approved as part of the Sussex County SCRP program, providing affordable housing for county residents. The Route 1 commercial corridor is approximately 1 mile north of the site. To the south of the site, along Route 24, there are manufactured home communities, a large multifamily condominium community along Love Creek, and diverse commercial uses. This is an appropriate location for C4 zoning and the mixed-use site plan proposed by the applicant. 4, the site is within the coastal area according to Sussex County Comprehensive Plan and its future land use map. The plan states that the C4 zoning is appropriate in the coastal area. The plan also states that in the coastal area, a higher density of 4 to 12 units per acre can occur, and that a range of housing types should be permitted, including single-family homes, townhouses, and multifamily units. Appropriate mixed-use development should also be allowed. In doing so, careful mixtures of homes with light commercial, office, and institutional uses can be appropriate to provide for convenient services to allow people to work close to home. This project satisfies this objective. 5, Chapter 4 of the Comprehensive Plan regarding future land use also states that Sussex County should expand affordable housing opportunities, particularly in areas near job centers and Delaware State Housing Authority areas of opportunity. 6, this development is consistent with the goals set forth in Chapter 8 of the Sussex County Comprehensive Plan regarding housing. The following are examples of goals, objectives, and strategies within Chapter 8 of the plan that are addressed by this development. Goal 8.2, ensure that a diversity of housing opportunities are available to meet the needs of residents of different ages, income levels, abilities, national origins, and household configurations. Objective 8.2.1, affirmatively further affordable and fair housing opportunities in the county to better accommodate the housing needs of all residents. Strategy 8.2.1.3, explore ways for private developers to provide more multifamily and affordable housing opportunities. Objective 8.2.3, facilitate and promote land use policies that enable an increase in the supply of affordable housing in areas with adequate infrastructure. Strategy 8.2.3.1, promote increasing affordable housing options, including the supply of rental units near employment opportunities. This project is consistent with each of these goals because it is intended to provide affordable housing opportunities in an area where the use is consistent with the existing and planned infrastructure, and it is located near numerous employment opportunities with access to many more employment opportunities given its location on an established DART route. 7, the C4 zoning combines a zoning application with a site plan review, much like a residential plan community zoning. Here, the applicant has provided a mixed-use site plan that includes a variety of housing types along with integrated commercial uses. Because of this variety, the site plan's design is superior to an exclusively residential or exclusively commercial development. The mixed-use design will allow residents to use and enjoy a variety of retail, restaurant, food service, and other commercial uses in close proximity to their home without having to travel outside of their community. This benefits the residents of this community and other Sussex County residents by reducing the need to travel on area roadways for these uses. 8, the use will be served by Central Water and Sussex County Sewer. 9, there was testimony in the record from Dr. David Tam, the president and CEO of BB Healthcare. Dr. Tam supported this project and others like it, stating that this type of housing is needed in eastern Sussex County to recruit and maintain appropriate staffing levels within area healthcare services. Dr. Tam explained that without more affordable housing options, such as this one, it is difficult to recruit necessary support staff, and that has an adverse effect on the ability to recruit physicians for the healthcare system. He testified that he fully supports this development in close proximity to the BB Health Campus on Route 24. 10, the residential portion of this development will provide an affordable rental housing option for current and future Sussex County residents. It is undisputed that the high price of homes and rentals in much of eastern Sussex County makes housing unaffordable for a lot of the workforce in this area. As a result, many of those county residents cannot afford to live where they work, resulting in long commuting times and increased traffic on county roads. During the public hearing, the applicant stated that at least 10% of the apartment units will be rented to tenants that are below 120% of AMI. As a condition of this recommendation, the applicant and the Sussex County Office of Community Development and Housing shall examine this rental rate during the public hearing to ensure that it is providing affordable rental housing that is reduced from the market rate units. Apartment units, by their nature, are generally more affordable housing options than owner-occupied homes, particularly in eastern Sussex County. Therefore, additional information shall be considered by County Council as part of its public hearing process to ensure that the qualifying tenants and the affordable rental rates of the restricted units are truly a more affordable housing option than the market rate units within the project. This is also a condition of this recommendation, along with requirements to guarantee that the restricted units remain available for qualifying tenants. 11, Sussex County Council declared in Chapter 72, Section 18 of the County Code that it is the policy of the county to A, encourage the creation of a full range of housing choices conveniently located in suitable living environments for all incomes, ages, and family sizes. B, encourage the production of affordable rental units to meet the existing and anticipated future employment needs in the county. C, assure that affordable rental units are dispersed throughout the county consistent with the comprehensive plan. D, encourage developments in growth areas as defined within the county's most current comprehensive plan and areas of opportunity as defined by the Delaware State Housing Authority to include a minimum percentage of affordable rental units on public water and sewer systems. This application with the mixed-use site plan addresses each of these stated goals. 12, the Delaware State Housing Authority supports this project according to its comments stated in the February 20th, 2025 PLUS report. According to the DSHA's housing reform map, this project is in an area of opportunity where diverse housing types should be supported. This means that the area has high-quality schools, supportive infrastructure, and the capacity to support diverse and affordable housing types. 13, the site is located along a bus transit route operated year-round by DART. In addition, the site is located near a wide variety of employment opportunities, including general, commercial, and retail uses, healthcare, education, institutional uses, and hospitality uses. 14, there are resources on the site as defined by the Sussex County Zoning Code. The developer has supplied a drainage assessment report and an environmental assessment and public facilities evaluation report in support of the application. In addition, the site plan complies with the requirements for resource and resource buffers set forth in the zoning code, and the design meets or exceeds the design standards for protecting these resources. 15, approximately 3/4 of the site is currently used for agricultural purposes as a horse farm. The remaining 1/4 of the site is wooded with resources within it. In addition to the requirements for resource protection, approximately 50% of the existing forest will be preserved by this design. 16, with conditions imposed, including the voluntary condition offered by the applicant that 10% of the units will be available to low and moderate income county residents. The proposed C4 zoning meets the purpose of the zoning code and comprehensive plan, and that it promotes the orderly growth, convenience, prosperity, and welfare of the county and its residents. 17, this recommendation is subject to the following conditions. A, the complex shall be owned and operated as a mixed-use development with commercial spaces and apartments. No owner-occupied units shall be permitted. The maximum number of apartment units shall not exceed 334 units, consisting of 7 buildings containing 24 apartment units and 4 mixed-use buildings containing 166 apartment units. The mixed-use buildings shall contain commercial uses on the first floor and residential apartments on the floors above. The commercial areas shall not exceed 75,000 square feet distributed along the pad sites and mixed-use buildings shown on the site plan. B, as offered by the applicant, 10% of the units shall be designated as restricted units for the purpose of providing affordable rental housing options subject to the following terms and conditions. Rent restricted units for a period of 30 years following the date the last building with residential units in it receives its certificate of occupancy. 10% of the total number of units offered for lease. The restricted units shall be rented to tenants with gross household incomes equal to or less than an appropriate percentage of the area median income for Sussex County. Qualifying tenants is established by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and updated annually for a rental rate adjusted for household and unit size as per HUD guidelines. This AMI percentage shall be determined by County Council after receiving input from the applicant and the Sussex County Office of Community Development and Housing during the public hearing before County Council on this application. Vacant units. During lease-up and for a period of 2 years, the applicant must actively seek to lease available units to qualifying tenants at a rate equal to or greater than the ratio of restricted units to market rate units. Post lease-up, any vacant units for which the applicant is actively seeking tenants must first be offered to qualifying tenants if the total number of leased restricted units is less than the minimum number of restricted units. At all times in which the number of restricted units is below the number of restricted units, the next available unit must be offered for lease to any known and available qualified tenant until such time as 10% of the restricted units are rented. Qualifying tenants. Eligible tenants for the restricted units must provide proof of citizenship, be of eligible income as defined in the ordinance approving the application, occupancy of restricted unit as the tenant's principal residence during the lease period. Each eligible tenant must certify before taking occupancy that the tenant will occupy the unit as the tenant's principal residence. Any tenant who violates occupancy requirements will be subject to eviction procedures. Comply with other requirements that apply to tenants of non-restricted units. Unit integration. Restricted units must be fully integrated into the community and shall not be substantially different in external or internal appearance and fit out from market rate units. Restricted units shall be equipped with the same basic appliances as the market rate units, such as an oven, refrigerator, dishwasher, and washer and dryer. At all times, the number of types of restricted units shall remain in proportion to the number of the same types of market rate units. For example, if 33% of the market rate units are 3-bedroom units, then 33% of the restricted units must be 3-bedroom units. Restricted unit leases. The following requirements shall apply to restricted unit leases. 1, the landlord shall determine the tenant's eligibility to rent a restricted unit, and lease agreements shall not be signed until tenant eligibility is determined. 2, lease agreements shall contain the same terms and conditions as the lease agreements with market rate renters, with the exception of the rental rates and other terms and conditions as required under these conditions. 3, all the lease agreements of restricted units shall cover a period of at least 1 year, An eligible tenant already occupying a restricted unit has first option to renew the lease agreement each year as long as the tenant maintains good standing with the landlord and continues to qualify as a qualifying tenant. 4, tenants of restricted units shall provide an executed affidavit on an annual basis certifying their continuing occupancy of the unit as their principal residence. Tenants shall provide such affidavit to the landlord by the date that may be specified in their lease or that may otherwise be specified by the landlord. 5, in the event the landlord of a restricted unit fails to provide his or her landlord with an executed affidavit as provided for in the preceding paragraph within 30 days of written request for such affidavit, then the lease shall automatically terminate, becoming null and void, and the occupant shall vacate the unit within 30 days of written notice from the landlord. 6, leases of restricted units shall prohibit tenants from subletting or subleasing the restricted unit. Examination by an independent certified public accountant. The developer shall contract with an independent Delaware certified public accountant that has no other relationship with the developer, owner, or manager of the project to certify compliance with the conditions of approval for the project related to the rental of the restricted units and the qualifying tenants in the project. In this engagement, the Delaware certified public accountant will certify compliance with these conditions in accordance with attestation standards established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. This shall be used to confirm that the project remains in compliance with all of Condition B of this approval and the status of each of the restricted units, the status and duration of any vacancy of any restricted unit, the marketing efforts to relet any vacant restricted unit to a qualifying tenant, the status of any list of qualifying tenants waiting for a restricted unit to become available, and such other information as the Delaware Certified Public Accountant, the Office of Planning and Zoning, and or the Office of Community Development and Housing may deem appropriate and necessary. This information shall be submitted to both the Office of Planning and Zoning and the Office of Community Development and Housing no later than March 1st of each year. Penalties. In the event that more than 90% of the units are rented as market rate because fewer than 10% of the units are leased to qualifying tenants, the applicant or the owner of the project shall be required to pay to Sussex County the monthly market rent collected from any excess market rate units. Any such funds collected by Sussex County shall be used and administered for the housing purposes by the Sussex County Office of Community Development and Housing. C, all entrances, intersections, roadways, and multimodal improvements required by DelDOT shall be completed by the applicant in accordance with DelDOT's determination. In addition, there shall be interconnectivity provided to the property to the east of this site to tax parcel 334-18.00-42.00, with signage on the site indicating that future interconnectivity is a possibility at this location. The design and location of the signage shall be shown on the final site plan. There shall not be any interconnectivity provided to the residential property to the south of this site. D, the active recreational amenities for this project shall include a clubhouse building with a minimum floor area of 7,000 square feet and a swimming pool. These amenities shall be completed in compliance with Section 115-194.5 of the zoning code. E, the development shall be connected to the Sussex County sanitary sewer system in accordance with the requirements and specifications of the Sussex County Engineering Department. F, the development shall be served by a central water system providing adequate drinking water and fire protection as required by applicable regulations. G, stormwater management and erosion and sediment control shall be constructed in accordance with applicable state and county requirements, and the project shall utilize best management practices to construct and maintain these fixtures. The final site plan shall contain the approval of the Sussex Conservation District. H, interior street design shall comply with or exceed Sussex County standards. In addition, there shall be sidewalks on both sides of all streets with interconnection between the sidewalks and a DelDOT mandated multimodal path. I, road naming and addressing shall be subject to the review and the approval of the Sussex County Geographical Information Office. J, the applicant shall consult with the local school district's transportation manager to determine if a school bus stop is appropriate. The location of such a bus stop shall be shown on the final site plan. K, as shown on the preliminary site plan, resource buffers required by Sussex County Code, Section 115-193 shall be created to include waters, wetlands, their associated resource buffers, and the additional areas shown on the preliminary site plan, all of which shall be permanently protected, delineated, and described on the final site plan and within a recorded declaration of covenants for the community. L, approximately 12 acres or 40% of the site shall remain as open space. M, construction, site work, and delivery shall only occur on the site between the hours of 7 a.m. through 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, and between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturday. No Sunday hours are permitted. A 24-inch by 36-inch notice sign confirming these hours in English and Spanish shall be prominently displayed at the site entrance during construction. N, the final site plan shall include a landscape plan for the development showing the proposed tree and shrub landscape design, including the buffer areas and the woodlands that must be preserved. O, all lighting on the site shall be shielded and downward screened so that it does not shine on neighboring properties or roadways. P, prior to the issuance of a building permit for each residential unit, the applicant shall make a $500 contribution to the Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company. Thereafter, a monthly contribution of $10 per completed dwelling unit shall be paid over to the Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company on a semi-annual basis. This contribution requirement shall be set forth on the final site plan. A copy of this ordinance shall also be provided to the Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company as a condition of final site plan approval. Q, the Cape Henlopen School District has commented that its schools are at capacity and that new development shall contribute to the district's need to expand its facilities to accommodate the additional students that will enroll as a result of the development. Therefore, Sussex County Council should consider establishing a contribution to the Cape Henlopen School District to be paid by the developer to the district upon completion of each apartment unit within the development. R, there will be off-site roadway improvements and a signalized entrance constructed to provide safe vehicular and pedestrian access to the development. Given the location and size of the developer shall coordinate with DelDOT and provide a phasing schedule that shall establish the time frame and phasing of the construction of the commercial buildings, mixed-use buildings, and residential buildings, and the construction of the off-site entrance and roadway improvements that DelDOT will require as a result of this development. The phasing schedule shall be coordinated between the applicant and DelDOT, and it shall be presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission for consideration as part of the final site plan. S, the final site plan shall depict or note these conditions of approval, and it shall be subject to review and approval of the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission. That is my motion, sir.
I second the motion.
Just one comment on this, just on condition L. It said approximately 12 acres or 40% of the site shall remain as open space. It should be 12 acres or 30%. Just 30%. Approximately. So other than that change, thanks.
I modify my motion with the 30% in condition L.
I second the modified motion.
All right, well, Mr. Collins, I think that might be a record for the, for the longest motion read.
I seem to get
into the
those.
record. But it was very comprehensive, and it has been moved and seconded to recommend approval of change of zone number 2001, Belle Mead Farm LLC. Ms. Wingate, how do you vote?
Before I vote, I would like to say I completely agree with Commissioner Collins' comments prior to his reading of his motion. I'd also like to add that I'm very happy about the condition P, the donation to the fire departments, first responders. And I would also like to add, I would hope to encourage the county council to consider Q to donate to our local schools. Having said all that, I am a yes for the reasons and conditions stated in the motion.
Okay, Mr. Mears?
Yeah, I too agree with Commissioner Collins' statement before he read the motion, and I vote yes for the reasons and conditions stated in the motion.
Okay. Mr. Collins?
I vote yes for the reasons and conditions stated in the motion, and will note, I hope that the county council will require some of those impact fees.
Mr. Butler?
Yes, for reasons and conditions stated in the motion.
Okay, chair votes yes for the reasons and conditions stated in the motion. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.